What is up, guys? Even here from Rev Airsoft PH, and I have Adam here with me behind the camera.
What is up, guys?
And so today we are going to talk about the Golden Eagle. What is this? A specific model is the GBBr MC6591M. Yan. So it's a mouthful, no? But it's the one with the 12.5-inch MLOK Rail, no, with the Battle Arms Development receiver. Ayan. So as promised, we will try to bring the latest and greatest innovation from China, right? So the video last week was about our all China-made rifles or GBBs, right? So those were the first generation Jinggong or Golden Eagle plastic receiver GBBs, right? So ayan. So we will start our review, of course, from tip to butt. Ayan. So for the tip, Adam here will show you a since we bought this secondhand, no? So just a brief background on where we bought this. So this was from Backroom Armory, and this is already a secondhand unit, right? So we wanted to get a used gun to see how it would fare after maybe 1 or 2 years of use. And the flash hider isn't the stock that it comes with out of the box. So it has been replaced with an A2 style, or it doesn't have a grub screw, maybe an A1 style flash hider, right? So yeah, going down, the sights also has been deleted. So the fiber optic sights that this comes with out of the box, it does not exist on this unit. And of course, you have that MLOK Rail. The MLOK Rail, unfortunately, has seen better days. So it's missing a few screws. So one there, and another there, right? And the thread on the barrel nut itself has been is lost thread already. So we will try to fix this in an upcoming video. We'll try to restore this to its former glory. But the rail, when I disassembled it, is relatively light, and the receiver as well is light. So we measured it. Do you remember, Adam, what was the difference between the the lower receiver of this one versus the plastic JG?
Very minimal difference, around 400 grams difference.
I think it's
Or
400,
40 grams.
40. It's around 40 grams. So it's a minimal difference between this one and the plastic JG receivers we have there at the back, right? So moving on, the other parts that we want to talk about is it doesn't have the standard M4 barrel, the one with the tapers up in front. So it comes with the more civilian-like style barrel, the straight cut, right? And it also comes with the gas tube and a gas block out of the box. So for all of you who are looking for more realism in your GBBRs, even though they don't have any function, right? Nandyan yan para maging pogi yung ating mga laruan. So, moving on, it's the upper receiver is fairly standard. So, it's a standard M4 upper receiver. It doesn't have any markings except for a serial number here. Yeah. So the thing that's really unique about this one is the bad lower receiver, no? So it comes with ambidextrous controls. So you have an ambi selector, and so it's a bit different from your standard M4 selector, which in 90 degrees yung semi, no? So I think you can, well, the markings are at a 45 degrees, but the lock, right, is still at 90 degrees. So that also has gotten me confused, no? So as you can see, the markings here, and here, right, for the semi, it should be at 90, but the detent is actually, it's at 45. The markings is at a 45-degree angle, but the detent is at a 90-degree angle. So that's actually your semi, and this is your full auto. So it's still similar to your standard AR-15 or M4 GBBs, no? So nothing special about that. So maybe Golden Eagle might want to revise this system, right? So the other side of the receiver, so ito. So of course, ambidextrous controls again. So if I move it here, it also moves the other side, right? So it's fully functional. And you also have the mag release, which is ambi as well. So if you're a left-handed shooter, again, so you have that ambi mag release. Another thing that's good here is, as you can see, it's a extended paddle for your bolt release. Unfortunately, unlike the SR15 from VFC, it is not ambidextrous. But I'm not sure if you can put a bad lever there, since the paddle is already too wide, right, to fit the bad lever over there. So, yeah. Another thing that you would have on this receiver is the anti, not anti-rotation links. That's tama, anti-rotation links, right? Wherein, for the real steel shooters, right, it's to keep your pins from coming out. So we've had good luck with ours, no, that they don't come out, so they don't run these. But in metal receivers, it's better to have this, especially that the pins would wear out and they would fall out of your replica sometimes. Okay, so the grip is a standard A2 pistol grip. When we bought this from Sir Seth, no, so it came with a G5 grip. Unfortunately, the G5 grip is hits this ambi selector, right? So yeah, so we just opted to put a stock grip for now on this replica. Another thing that's unique here is, usually you would have replaceable or replaceable or removable trigger guards, right? For this, it's already built in the receiver. So if you do break this, there's no coming back from that. But it's a fairly it's fairly robust, right? It's thick there. I don't see it breaking anytime soon. The metal on this receiver, it's not the typical chinesium that you would use on, well, the chinesium that the like the AGM GBBRs before had, right? So maybe you would have better luck with these replicas. So yeah, so I think that's it for the receiver, right? So going a bit inside, no? Of course, you have your bolt carrier. Your bolt carrier is made out of zinc alloy. So again, it's chinesium, right? So it's not steel. It's a standard WA affair of the bolt carriers, right? You still have that signature JG brass nozzle, which helps with the longevity of the nozzle, because the standard WA, if you've been using WA platform for the longest time, right, you would know that the nozzle is the first things to break on those replicas as well. So yeah, so the bolt zinc alloy, that's okay. You have the, I guess it's a functional forward assist, but in Airsoft, who uses these, right? So you have your forward assist as well, and a ambidextrous charging handle. So the charging handle, much to my surprise, right? Again, this is a used unit. It survived, again, racking it, right? And just playing with it. There's a fair bit of abuse and, of course, wear and tear on that charging handle, but it still lives, right? So our other replicas would use the Radian style charging handles. Those are also ACM. But yeah, so it's a fairly unique charging handle. So again, if you rack it up here, and you'll see in this area, right? So it's a ambi charging handle. Ayan. So sorry. Hey. Yeah, moving a bit backwards, there's nothing special when it comes to so I'm looking at the picture as well, right, for reference. There's nothing special when it comes to the what do you call this one? Castle nut and
End plate.
the end plate, yeah. So you might want to use, if you're into slings, right? So if you want another sling point there, you might want to use something like this. So this is not, I forgot the brand of this one, right? but it's a steel end plate that you would I don't know, you would use, so you'd have another sling point there. But the buffer tube also nothing special. It's a 6 position buffer tube. Yeah, and the butt stock is the crane stock. So yeah, so that's the overview of the entire unit, right? So it's your standard AR-15 platform with your ambidextrous controls for your um, mag release and your selector lever, right? So before we move into this, um, again, since this is a used unit, so on the externals, I can see the receiver. Maybe it fared a little better, right, than the rest of the gun or the rest of the replica. So there are a few rust spots here and there. There are, of course, paint wear on the controls, on the um, on mag release button, on the selector, right, and here in the mag well. But the grip I cannot say because I don't have the original one. So it's a okay wear for me, I guess, right? So you could paint over that or whatever. But I think this fared well in comparison with the with our previous ano no. So I know a lot of out of GBBRs, usually they don't have the best finish, especially that this is of course a ACM or a China made replica. So yeah, the other thing that I would like to comment about is the barrel nut. I don't think that this is the best solution for fixing your um fixing your rails to your replicas, right? So the rail I'm not a big fan of. So especially that the barrel nut itself actually had enough uh damage to it that it's not centered to the replica. But of course, it's a rail, nothing that you cannot replace. So this is easily replaceable, right? So we'll go on to our disassembly. So when I purchased this, I was aware that there was an issue with the rail and there's an issue with the full auto. So let's do a not a quick teardown, but a teardown of the unit, right? We want to show you what's different between um, the previews ACM like the Jinggong and of course SNT and all of those variants, right? Which is just JG underneath. So there's a few things that's different when you actually check the Golden Eagle out, and of course one of them is the more survival. Um, it's still a charging handle made out of zinc alloy, so I would not trust this to last as long as it did. Right, it's fairly heavy, so maybe we'll get a scale on that later. But again, as I was saying, right, so it's the standard JG affair wherein you have the brass nozzle, sorry, the brass tip for the nozzle, and you have the WA style nozzle, and of course the WA style zinc alloy carrier. So what's good about this is it has that steel insert for, there you go. So we have the steel insert for the bolt lock. So you would expect fairly reliable bolt lock from this bolt carrier. So yeah, moving downwards to the lower, let me just put some things aside, right? So I clear my workbench. Yeah, moving down. So you would have the lower. So fun things here is you have a steel bolt catch. So if you're worried about wearing this out, it would take you a long time to break this bolt catch. But the sad thing is, since you have this extended paddle thing, right? So if you do break this, you might have to get the standard M41 with the small paddle. So the hammer, the hammer is also steel. So yeah, I guess I'd get the magnetized bits out. So let's get a magnetized bit. And the, ano, ayan. So again, this is also steel. Then this is steel. And so let's see what's steel and what's not, right? And this is also steel. And the Sear or the disconnector isn't steel, but the trigger is. Okay, so these three components are usually the things that you would want to be steel on your GBBRs. So, well, no, in lieu, no, like of the MWS, there's zinc alloy, but of course the MWS is a fairly expensive replica, and of course, TM spec'd it that way in order to they spec'd it that way, right, for reliability. So that's, even though it's zinc alloy, those parts are really good, right? Would you agree, no, Adam?
Yeah, the way the TM MWS was conceived, it's for Japan spec, so it's not for green gas use. So it's for still 134A use. So in terms of the materials being used, I think zinc alloy will be enough for that kind of play style. But for us here in the Philippines, since we use commonly green gas or propane, it's gonna take quite a beating if
Yeah.
ever we or if ever you would use a green gas on an MWS. So on other platforms like the Western Arms, UFC, GHK, it's okay to run green gas since the components or the materials being used is steel right out of the box. So you can have better longevity and durability
Yeah.
for those parts.
And the the WA platform, when it was designed, no, it was designed for 134A then, ano. So it's a Japan spec initially,
Yeah.
right? So they copied it. They tried to run green gas with it, but zinc alloy parts do not run well with those, ano, no, with those sorry, with those gases, no. So green gas is very very, ano eh, very very rough on your internals. So we'll talk about wear later, right? So the valve knocker, so here is not steel. So let's get the camera now. So again, the valve knocker here, it's not steel. The base, it's not steel as well. Again, the full auto sear is steel, and this little the buffer lock is not steel. Normally, you'd want that to be steel as well. I believe the buffer has been replaced as well by a heavy buffer, but since this is again it's used, right, it's missing
Bumper.
the rubber bumper at the back. But I have another buffer for this, and you can fix that later. So yeah, now let's go to how worn are these internals after some use, right? So the bolt carrier, when I was inspecting it actually yesterday, right? So there's paint wear on both of the sides, of course, since it runs inside the channel of your upper receiver, right? And the roller bearing on the hammer has made not a significant dent, but there is some wear marks already on the lower side of your um, bolt carrier group. And yeah, the backside is fairly beaten as well. So again, zinc alloy that's running on top of your steel hammer is not usually a good combination, but it works, right? And this will last for a few more years, I guess. The nozzle, not much wear. Again, that's brass, and that's really robust as well. The the steel insert is still on there pretty good, and there's not much wear as well. Okay, moving downwards, right? So we'll do a bit of disassembly. So let me get that bit, and let's get the appropriate bit for this one as well. So let's remove the, I think this is I need a smaller one. So as you notice, I have lots of ano no, since I take down my GBBRs fairly often, and I'd want spares just to be sure that if I do wear one down, right, I'd have a spare bit as well. So we'll go on with the disassembly. Okay, so I think this one is a bit lost thread. Oh, by the way, while we're disassembling this, as you can see, these screws are already what do you call that? Phillips screw heads, right? And I've replaced them with a similar screw. So initially those were hex screws, but since it was missing one, no, one screw, I just opted to replace both with a Phillips screw. So yeah, just to something to take note of, right? So this is not stock already, so I've changed that. Okay, so let's continue with our disassembly. So it hits that. So I guess I need to put a bit of. Okay, so it's actually spinning the entire thing. So let's try disassembling from this. Okay, so this is a better angle for this, and of course we'll also. Okay, so that's not a good sign. So these heads are also fairly worn out. Okay, so that's the issue when you actually buy secondhand. So yeah, maybe this has been disassembled one or a few times already. Let me see if I have something to fit this one. So yeah, no dice. So we'll just do it this way. I can pull it from here. So the hammer goes, and yeah, the screw is still stuck there. Okay. And we'll push this one here. I do not advertise doing it this way, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do with these units. We'll fix it later. So let me get a bit. I should probably get um, pin punches, no? Again, I do not advertise doing it this way. It's just that there's so many things stuck with this. And so it looks like, yeah, the screw is really in there. So yeah, maybe they use some sort of Loctite, and I do not want to deal with that right now. But yeah, let's see the hammer and their bearings. Okay, it fell down. Wait lang. Okay, so yep. So the hammer. Oh, this is interesting, no? So again, this is a GHK part already. So the previous owner actually told me that they upgraded the spring with a GHK hammer spring. So GHK hammer springs, if you notice, they tend to be a bit more forward, right? And when it rests, when the hammer rests, it's actually at a 90 degrees. And the WA hammers would have it more at the 45 degrees when it is at rest. So I guess the GHK pushes it forward, but it does not do it with force. So again, we use this GHK hammer springs ourselves, and we don't find any issue with these system. No? So again, they have bearings. So I guess that's for a smoother, I don't know, smoother action on the hammer. Although, yeah, our triggers and our hammers are fairly smooth, and they don't have this. So I don't know if that's contributing to something, right? And there's a double bearing on the hammer face. So I guess this helps with the action on the bolt carrier group, or the bolt carrier, right? Smoothing the action out on that. Yeah. So yeah, that's the hammer. It's steel. You have bearings. You have those rollers on the top. And let's check out the trigger. So you can actually disassemble the trigger without disassembling everything, but it involves some sort of finagling around the lower. So sometimes we're too lazy to remove everything. So yeah, so as suspected, the issue that the um wait, okay, so let me just try to get the trigger out. So yeah, okay, so I guess that's not going to go. I need to remove the full auto sear as well. Okay, so let's give me a few moments and we'll remove that as well. As you can see, guys, if you're working on your GBBRs, buy pin punches. So, so it involves. Oh, maybe this is. Okay, didn't see that earlier, but it seems to be have a C clip. Sorry. So, like, edit mo yun, ah. So this unit seems to have a C clip installed. So we'll have to pull that out. Yeah, there you go. So if there are tools that help you in disassembling your replicas, guys, buy them. Especially pin punches. Yeah. So the reason why I don't buy pin punches is because I just buy more tips and then just use the old tips as pin punches. There you go. Okay, a bit more. Oh, and this hammer as well. I'm not sure if that's but it's a mallet, right? It's still fairly stuck here, so I guess there's another. So there are actually two. Sorry, didn't see the other one as well. So it's my first time disassembling this. Ayan. Okay.
Comparing to the previous version, older versions of the JG Golden Eagle one, it doesn't have that kind of
Okay, there's the other half of yours here. And here's your trigger. Okay, so trying hard not to break everything. And like, can you get some light in here? So let me see, where's that other C clip? I guess there was just some debris stuck there. It wasn't a C clip. So there's a lot of debris inside. I'm not sure what are those grimy stuff, right? But I definitely want to clean this up, especially that I have it out in the open. And the last thing that we want to disassemble is this one. So we'll take the selector out as well, and we'll arrange it on the table for you guys. So this is not the best way not to disassemble this. There might be a better way. Not might, there is a better way. So unfortunately, I may need to remove the pistol grip as well. So the selector. This really involves a lot of finagling around in order to disassemble. Okay. Okay. So let's try to get that selector out. So maybe we'll loosen a bit. Yeah, we'll loosen the detent a bit. It's our first disassembly video, no, na talagang ano. Okay, so earlier, it's already a replacement screw because we lost the screw for this one. Okay, so we need another hex bit in order to disassemble this one. So I need to arrange this. Yeah, that's big. So yeah, that's too loose. Okay, so all right. So yeah, so for our other replicas, we didn't need to um disassemble so many things, right? So like our JGs, you could just um freely loosen the selector. You can wiggle it out of the way, but for this one, I guess you really have to loosen the detent. So that's a good thing by Golden Eagle. Okay, so there you have it. So you have all the fire control group components out. Um, Again, we did have to remove almost all of them. So let's just clear the table out and we'll talk about the internals. Okay. Cut ka na lang.
Oo, syempre.
Game. Okay. So, the first thing that we'd usually check, right, is can we get a rug? Let's get a rug here. Let's clean up the parts a bit so you see better. Yeah. Okay. So the thing that's one of the most important things, right, is the interfaces between the hammer. So yeah, let's get it in focus, and of course the trigger. So the triggers here, from what I can see, is still a relatively, I don't know, good condition. So I guess this would still last a long time. And again, these are steel parts, right? So both of them seems to be in a good condition. No major wear so far. So those are the that's one of the things that usually fail on the JGs, right? So if you have the older zinc alloy versions, two things happen. It's either you break the hammer at this point, so the hammer goes split there, or you actually wear the trigger enough that that part, the right angle there, actually goes kaput, right? And again, that's the thing that resets your triggers. And also, once the hammer goes forward, right, and that hits, and then you keep the trigger, you keep your trigger on the finger, that actually goes back up and then hits the hammer, and then sorry, there's another sear that's supposed to be there, right? And then that will sorry, hindi siya naging reset. My bad. Ulit. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. So one of the things that usually goes kaput is the hammer. So the part here, actually, it's either you wear it out, no, or that part breaks, or you split the hammer. So Adam's JG has had several hammers, and they're all here as proof, right, that these hammers, the zinc alloy hammers, actually die. But for these ones, again, they're not. They're steel and they're in fairly good condition, and this is one of the things that's um really ano no, parang ito yung main part that keeps your semi. So this part actually, 'di ba? So when you um cock it, so that actually latches there. Kita ba? So that actually latches there, and then when you hit the trigger, that goes forward, back, the hammer goes boom. And then of course, for the reset, right, there's a disconnector here, so you won't go full auto. Okay, going to the disconnectors here. As you can see, it's in two pieces. So, the question is it supposed to be two pieces? No. So yeah, this is actually I'm not sure if it's bad quality control on the side of Golden Eagle or maybe, but it looks like bad QC, right? So this actually would just I don't know. This part doesn't usually break the tail because um there's no force acting on this part. But this it still functions, but with ano na lang talaga semi. Even if you put the selector on full auto, it won't go full auto because um this part actually ano actuates the ano ang tawag dito? Actuates the selector, 'di ba? So when you put the selector on full auto, it disables the disconnector and it lets the full auto sear handle the job of ano no when to let the hammer go. Well, it's a simplified version, right? But you watch your AR-15 videos there, know how it functions. But if you want to mod it, you usually cut off this tail, right? So the disconnector, even if it's on full auto, it would always go forward and catch the hammer here, like that, no? So typically, the part that wears out is this right here. But weirdly enough, the tail broke off. So I am attributing this to bad quality control. Um, Also, one of the questions, why Golden Eagle? This is steel. This is steel. Why? Why put a zinc alloy part or aluminum part on this replica, right? This is not a very expensive part. You can actually get steel ones for maybe $5 on 6mm.com, right? So that's an international website. I'm not sure if we still have Sears here in the Philippines for WA. I'm going to try to contact other people if they have a steel one, right? Fortunately for us, we are not really hoarders, but we've had our JGs. We tried to keep the stock parts for nostalgia because they are fun to play with. So let's see what's new, right? Ito ba, is it still JG or is it AGM?
GG.
No, I bet it's JG because the AGM ones, ano eh,
Arshite.
huh?
Arshite.
Shite. No, so talaga nasisira, no? They just break out of the blue. Parang, even if you don't use them, they just break. So, yeah. Again, bad QC.
Garanti sabog.
Oh, yun yung ano namin. Garanti sabog, boys. So, steel. New, old, right? So, the old ones, zinc alloy. This is steel. It has a roller. It has a bearing. Also, the rollers before, not the bearing type. They're really just rollers. So, the new rollers are bearing type. The Sear, well, the Sear is both zinc alloy. This is shiny, this isn't. But inside they're really just zinc alloy. And my guess is if we fit this here, it will fit, right? Um,
Not much has been changed.
Not much has been changed internally. It's WA platform, so for those people who will tell you that this is all GHK compatible, yeah, you may be able to drop down GHK parts there, but I wouldn't count on it. So yeah,
Would you need it? Probably not, since it's steel. Pero if ever you would need it, it could work again.
yeah, it could work. So the next part here is the triggers. So the old one, sorry, let's fix it. No, ito yung new, and then ito yung old. Hindi nakaka-OC. The new one, again, is steel. So the old ones are aluminum alloy. Okay, so if you would have a set of these, right, and you would use it inside your GBBR. So if you bought a JG before and then you'd use it on your GBBRs, on that GBBR, sorry, this set would last for around 3,000, 5,000 rounds. 5,000 rounds, swerte ka na nun, no? I guess this one lasted for much longer. And if I do just keep this one, right, and I throw away the broken part, this would still function. Yun nga lang, it's semi-only. So what I would do is I just switch it out later. So when I reassemble this entire I would switch it out just so it would have full all of functionality. I'd probably sell this again. I'm not sure with how Adam's feeling about that, but I would sell it because my replica's working fine, right? And I don't need another M4 in my inventory. Yeah, so that's it for the internal. So it's a fairly standard WA affair with some steel parts. I'm guessing this really for these changes no are the major ones, and it's all for longevity. So you would have a fairly, in my opinion, you'd have a fairly worry-free worry-free life with this GBBr. You'd field it every weekend, right? It would function. You could play with this out of the box. You will not have any issues. But yeah, of course, ilang minutes na tayo?
44.
44. It's a long video. Ay, so just to try, no, we've already tried this yesterday. So this is Adam's JG. And the funny thing is, if you do take this upper, and for example, you might have a plastic JG upper, right? And you bought one of these. Maybe you broke the lower or whatever, right? You can actually take this. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Another gripe of mine. So, random gripe. The detent doesn't go far enough to keep the pin in its place. But yeah, whatever. So,
Wait, buffer spring muna.
yep. Oh, yeah. So, again, thanks for the reminder. So, buffer and buffer spring without this, no. I would have to disassemble more parts just to get the bolt carrier out. Yep. Okay, so EEG mode because it's running a VFC buffer. VFC bolt carrier. So as you can see, it fits. The alignment on it is not the best, but I've tried running a mag through it and it works, no? It works with the upper. So my guess is, or not my guess, no? I've already tried it with the VFC bolt carrier, and we can try it with the GHK bolt carrier later, right? If you take the GHK bolt carrier and you maybe buy a GHK Sear or a steel Sear, right? You would have a replica that's running steel FCG and a steel BCG for less than 20,000 pesos. And that's that's a
bargain.
That's a bargain, no? Hindi siya yung pinakamura that you would get out of the box. But if you run this, the mag is already GHK compatible. So I don't have the original mag. It didn't come with a mag, but it's GHK compatible. I've seen one in the wild, but I cannot comment on the reliability. But in terms of functionality, it's basically the same as GHK. But with a few caveats, as far as I can remember, there's a few issues with the gas route, and you would want to change that Golden Eagle gas route to a GHK one in order to have a better seal on the bolt carrier as well. So we'll pause the video a bit. So we'll reassemble this and we'll get back to the rifle. So going back to our review, right? So you've seen the internals, you've seen the wear that has happened inside, right? So just to recap, the internals, bolt carrier group has a small groove on the underside. The Sear, the hammer and the trigger, minimal wear since they're both steel. The rollers are all okay. Unfortunately, the disconnector or the trigger sear, the rear part broke off. Hence, the replica was stuck in semi only, right? So we replaced that with another zinc alloys here. Hopefully, we can get one in steel in the future, right? So having it reassembled here, the last segment of this video is actually the magazine compatibility. Out of the box, right? You'd get one of these PMags, but these are GHK, and I've had these for a few years now. They're very reliable. They don't leak. Well, for me, right? I haven't repaired one yet, so I have had this for a long time, and they're fairly reliable. So di sila nagli-leak. They feed all right to me. Some would modify them to have the aluminum feed nozzles, right? Sorry, feed lips, right? But for me, it's a non-issue, so I just keep on using them until they break, right? The again, I said it earlier, but the stock GE mags, they're cheaper than the GHK ones. Those you can snag here for around 2,500 pesos. And these ones, I'm not sure how much are G mags running nowadays. I think it's around 4.5, 4.3, maybe, right? So yeah, so these are more expensive, but in terms of weight, I've held one of those. It's also lightweight, fairly lightweight, right? It's not as heavy as this old Stanag type of the WA platform. So if you remember those, they were around 800 grams, and you can throw it. It's like a brick, and if you throw it to someone, no, definitely injury yun. But again, so magagaan na yung PMAG, so the latest version. So the only issue or the only gripes I would say that I had with those magazines, right, is I have tried one of them in my GHK system. It's weak, and again, you have to change the gas route in order for it to function properly on GHK replicas. So again, so since it's a WA style replica, you have to rack it before you insert the mag, else you will catch the valve knock, or you'd break it. No, you probably break it. So and so racked, right, and let's test fire. So I'll aim at I'll aim somewhere safe. So unfortunately, I don't have any gas on that mag. Let's try another mag. So I'm sad that we don't have green gas today. We're working with 134A, but we'll work with what we have. So yeah, it's an okay recoil. You already have that heavy buffer. The spring is not as light as the original um, Golden Eagle or JGs, right? It's a better spring, definitely with a heavy buffer like this one. So earlier in the video, you saw that I replaced it with one that has a rubber buffer at the back, right? So this one wore, well, I think this just wore out, right, to the point that the rubber buffer is gone. But I replaced it with the new one, and it seems to function a little bit better. So the G mags work fine. I have the V1 Stanags. These are the heavy ones, around 600, 700 grams. And if I throw this to you, right, it's like a brick. So yeah, so this is more, I don't know, this is better. I think this is the, ano pa, Binx's gas, no, like, nagkakamali. And it's, yeah, as you can see, right, very, very good recoil. That's a stock bolt, right, or bolt carrier group. So, yeah, full out is also fine, see? So, doesn't take a lot in order to bring it back from the dead. But, yeah, the mags, I don't have the G mags, but they are GHK compatible. This is GHK compatible out of the box. Before, you had to mod a few things with the previous generation of the Jingong, right? But for this one, out of the box, you get a GHK mag, you slap it in, it will work. So they made that work for you guys. So I guess I also have this, right? So Okay, so so this replica, we talked about this in our last video, and this is my JG, with the one with the plastic body, right? So this is my favorite the rifle, no, that I have. So I only have two, the GNP and this one, and now this one, three. What's the other one? The M733. Yeah, I forgot. No, may BFC pa pala ako. Tapos I also have a Mark 12 upper for this one. But the platform, definitely this one is my favorite. I love the block 2 setup. So again, I fixed my tools already, but I'll disassemble this for you guys, right? So just a quick disassembly. So what I'd like to point out is, can I fit a GHK bolt carrier inside of my Golden Eagle replica? So I lost the pin, right? Did you see the pin? It's just down there. I'll get it later. But yeah, so I'm running a GHK bolt carrier. So this one, you've seen it last time. So while I still have gas in the magazine, right? So we'll try to um, test that out if it works. So again, I lost the pin, the rear pin. So it's, yeah. Okay. The one thing that I do hate with metal receivers is the pin is quite a challenge, to pull out. But yeah, so it slides out. I'll use my, I don't know, I'll use my um charging handle as well. Oh, so there you go. So even if this is a version 1 bolt carrier, GHK bolt carrier, yeah, looks like it's a no-go. So it won't fit here. Okay, bolt carrier definitely won't fit. What about an alternative? So I still have um Adams. Sorry, I'll just wipe my hands. I still have Adams BCM JG as well here. So let's get that VFC again to the AAG style disassembly. Yeah, so this one, we tested it out. The upper would work on the BCM lower. And just as a quick spoiler, I tried it out yesterday. And yes, a VFC bolt carrier group would definitely fit this replica. So why would you choose a VFC over the stock JG? Uh-oh. I must... Okay. Something snagged. It's the charging handle. Okay. So the charging handle apparently doesn't fit. You might need to... So this is a, for the WE, for the RS style. So they have little wings, and we need to shave a bit more. So let's just get one that would fit this upper, right? So let's get the stock one. And again, the VFC bolt carrier. So yeah, again, going back, why would you want to fit the VFC bolt again? This does not want to fit. Okay, so yeah, this fits. This fits okay, but again, you have to do the AEG mod, right? Because that would hit the back. Unless you do shave off the the bolt carrier. So again, front pin in, rear pin in. Yeah, and let's get the GHK mag. Okay, so let's try it out. Functions fine as well. So the VFC bolt carriers, no, especially the version 3s or version 3.5, the one with the end pass, is actually more it's a better zinc alloy. Let's just say that, right? It's a better zinc alloy. It's much heavier, right? And it doesn't wear as much as the stock JG. So you'd run it quite a fair bit before you actually break that one. And it has a steel insert for the bolt catch as well, right? So in terms of bolt catch reliability, it's on par with the stock Golden Eagle. But again, this, I'm pretty sure this has had thousands of rounds through it, and the grooves underneath might stop there I'm not sure, right? With further testing, we will confirm. But the wear and tear at the underside is from the hammer. And if you want to stop that wear and tear, just use a GHK um or the one without a bearing, yeah, not bearing, but the roller, no, on top.
Roller bearing.
Yeah, roller bearing, whatever, no, on the double bearing or the double roller on top, hammer roller. Yeah, just use that. So let me bring it back to stock and we'll talk again. Okay. Okay, it's a fairly standard affair, right? It's yeah. Okay. Okay, so having it all assembled again, our final thoughts on this on this replica. So on the externals, I have nothing good to no, just joking, no. Some gripes, no. The screws are I'm not sure if it was just because they're bad aluminum alloy, but we do need to replace the screws on this ones to a bit to the larger bit, right? And to larger screws, sorry, because the previous owner was transferring this from one rifle to another rifle, and it has gotten worn out. And one of the things that they modified, just to add, was they cut out a piece of the barrel nut in order to access the hop-up assembly a bit faster. We didn't talk about the hop-up. Maybe we'll talk about it in the future. But it's using an AEG hop-up. It's newer in comparison to the ones or to the older WA style replicas, which use the WA style hop-up chambers. This one, AEG spec barrel, AEG spec hop-up bucking, which is good, no? More compatibility. You can use a variety of hop rubbers as well. So yeah, the rail, the hop up, we didn't talk about it a bit earlier, no. The receiver, it's okay, right? It's the top receiver or the upper receiver, nothing to talk about. It's a standard M4, right? With your maybe non-functioning or functioning. It's in the middle, no. Sometimes it would work, but yeah. So I would yeah, it doesn't really work. Doesn't really work. So it's not really a functioning forward assist, right? And you have that lower. So the lower it is what makes it unique. So again, it's the or the Battle Arms development lower with your ambidextrous controls. Yeah. So that's the biggest buying factor. I mean, ano yung tawag dito? That's the biggest factor for me to when I purchased this replica. I just like the lower. And in terms of the internals, the bolt carrier, dare I say, no, is fairly reliable, no. So talagang ano na siya, no. It's an evolution from the previous WA platform replicas. I've had several bolt carriers fail on me before. The tab on the side where you put the small nozzle lock would actually break. The nozzle would break, but this one, it's okay. It has had a few thousand rounds through it, according from the looks of it, right? But the lower the fire control group, the trigger, the hammer looks or seems to be solid enough to take that much abuse. But the Sear unfortunately broke at the back, right? Leading to no full auto, but it will still work. No, it's locked to semi. So if you're looking for a DMR style rifle, that's the way to go, right? Break the disconnector or just cut off the tail of the disconnector. It would function as a semi-only rifle. And lastly, the stock, the buffer for the buffer spring, right? Buffer and buffer spring. The buffer spring is okay. It's fairly stiff, right? But the buffer, if I remember correctly, the stock one is a plastic buffer, and you would want to change out to one of these metal buffers with a rubber, rubber bumper at the back, right? But again, the one that I got was already worn out, right? That's why I replaced it with a new one. So yeah, would I buy this replica at 13,500 pesos? I guess that's the SRP for this one. So Mancave would have it at around that price, 13,500, 14. For the other types, right, there are yung wire cutter type. There's the short version of this one with a stubby butt. Um, there's the URGI, right? So there's a lot of versions of the Golden Eagle, and the internals, I'm assuming, would be the same. Yeah, I'd take one for 13,500 pesos. I just replaced the Sear with a steel one. So I hope some Filipino retailer would actually purchase some of those steel parts for the WA platform. That is the WA platform in the Philippines is fairly dead. So yeah, I'd replace it with a steel one. I'd run the bolt carrier to the ground until it dies, and I'd replace the plastic buffer with a metal buffer. So a few changes here and there, and of course modify the magazine with a GHK gas route. And the mags, right? They're light, 2.5 a piece. If you're going to go with Golden Eagle, 2.5 a piece, they're relatively cheap, right? In terms of our hobby, right? So in GHK Max 4.3, so quite a bit of change, right, in between those two magazines, right? So if you take the Golden Eagle magazines, you run the Golden Eagle rifle, you modify them as they break, right? I would say it's a good platform to start your gas blowback journey. Yeah. So that is it, guy. That is it, guys. No. So thank you for watching, and I hope we see you on the next one. Please like and subscribe if you like our videos.
Peace.
Peace.